Hello everyone, it's Katrina from the Alluring Bead Boutique. Today I am going to be showing you guys some variations on twisted tubular herringbone that I just recently learned myself. Along the way, when I was working on the first parts of these videos, I decided that I really liked this color combination, and I have since turned it into a bracelet. But I just wanted to give you a quick introduction into what we're going to be learning. We will start out by creating, obviously, a ladder base. I use crystals in mine. You can use whatever you want. I'm going to show you guys how to get started on tubular herringbone. Then we're going to go ahead and twist it just like I've done in my previous bead stitching basics video, and show you how to do the twist with a slightly different step up than what I had known before, so I was done it a little differently on the step up this time. And then I'm going to take you guys into this extreme twist, which is a totally different approach to making a twist, and makes a twist really fast and really pronounced, which I've done here in the center of this beadwork, and then also here on the center of this focal section, and then on this section here. As you probably know already, but if you don't, let me tell you now. Anytime that you are going to do herringbone stitch, whether it's in a flat work, as this is looking right now, or such as in this bracelet here, you're going to start with a ladder bead base. I like to start with a 2-bead high ladder base just because it's very elegant and it gives a nice look to the end of your project. You can do it any way you want. What I've done here is I have ladder stitched together 2 sets of beads 6 times. So when I started, I picked up 4, went back through the bottom 2, came down through the next 2, added 2 more, added 2 more, added 2 more, and added 2 more, till I have 6 rows across, 2 beads high. So the next thing we're going to have to do is form this into a tube. My thread is exiting the bottom of set 6. My tail thread is coming out of the bottom of set 1. I'm going to take my needle and pass it back up through set 1 and pull my beads around into a little tube shape. You could fold it like a little horseshoe if it makes it easier, which it helps me, so that's what I do. In essence, all we did was create a thread bridge at from between the bottom of set 6 and the bottom of set 1. Now we need to put a bridge at the top of these 2 sets. So come back down through your last set from top to bottom. Pull the thread through. So now we have our 2 thread bridges, but I want to go back up into set 1 so I can start at the very beginning. So we're going to go back up through the 2 beads of set 1. Pull the thread through. Just like this. Now, we have our cute little tube shape. And it's a little flimsy at first because, you really don't have much work supporting it. But it has 6, sets of beads all the way around the circle. Just like that. And we are coming out of the top of set 1. So when you're doing herringbone, you usually pick up 2. You go down through the very next bead, just 1, and then you go up through the next one before you pick up more beads. For this particular project, or this class, I'm going to use my beads so that you can really see the twist in the work. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pick up my first color of beads. And these are just some kind of like dark topaz rainbow or a root beer brown. So I'm going to pick up 2 beads, and I'm going to pass down through that top crystal, the next one. I sew to the left because I'm left-handed. You might be sewing to the right. So now I'm coming out of that second crystal there. I'm going to go up through the top crystal in the next set, just like that. Pull my thread through. And now we're going to pick up some more beads. So I'm going to put one stripe of yellow between my two colors here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up one yellow bead, and then I'm going to pick up a green bead, just like that. I'm going to pass down through the top crystal that's on the next set, right here. Pull those beads in until they sit on top of the crystals. Roll your work if it's easier, and then I'm going to come up through that next crystal. Just like that. And now here I'm going to pick up my green first, and then my yellow. And I'm going to come down through the next crystal, which is the top one of set 6, just like that. I'm going to pull those beads in. And now, when I step up through this next crystal, I also have to step up through that little topaz bead there at the top. So in essence, I'm stepping up 2. I'm going to pull it through. So we've just completed our first round of tubular herringbone. And what we're going to do is we're going to repeat that exact round 4 more times for a set of 5 rows of straight tubular herringbone. So let's go ahead and we'll pick up 2 of our color A. We're going to pass down 1, which is obviously the second topaz piece of that column. Pull those beads in. Make sure they're positioned and look, sitting on top of each other like that. Then when we roll our work around, we're going to step up 1, which is going to be the yellow bead on the second column. We're going to pick up yellow and green, or color B and C, and pass down that next bead. And we're going to pass up into the top bead of our next column. Because we started with 6 rows of ladder, that provides us with 3 rows of herringbone. So now we're going to pick up color C and color B. So green and then yellow. And pass down that next bead, which is yellow. Position the beads, and we're going to step up through this the bead that's right beside the one we're exiting, plus the bead above it, because we're back at the beginning of our next row. So we're stepping up 2, just like that. And as the work grows, it will become less fidgety for you to work with. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do 3 more rows, just like I've been doing. Alright, so now I have gotten those first 5 rows finished. And I'm going to start slightly twisting this beadwork. So my next stitch, I'm coming out of, my first column here. I've got my 2 picked up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 2 and I'm going to go down 1. But this time, instead of going up 1, I'm going to go up 2. So I'm going to roll my work around a little bit. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go up through these 2 beads at the beginning of the next column. So it's down 1, up 2 now. Pick up yellow and color B and color C. Go down 1. And then up 2 into my 3rd column, which will be my little green ones here. And you're going to want to make sure that you go through 2 each time. One more stitch to do on the end for this row. I can pick up C and then B, just like I've been doing the whole time. I'm going to sew down one bead in the column I'm working on. And this is something new I learned. Normally, I had been stepping up through 3, so that would account for the 2 beads of the previous round, plus the first bead of this, the last round we're working on. However, what I learned on interweave was just to step up 2, just like this. And that didn't really make a lot of sense to me, but we'll give it a go. So now we have completed one row on our twisted, and you'll see that my work is going to curve this way. It'll be more obvious in a few rows. So let's do 4 more rows. So what I'm going to do to help myself stay on track is I'm going to count out 4 more beads and set them to the side. So I know that that's going to count each one of the new rows I need to start. So there's 1, and I'll pick one up over here. That's 2. We're going to sew down 1. Position our beads, and we're going to sew up through 2 in the next column. If I can get my beads in there. Get my needle in, sorry. So up the next 2. So we're ready for a yellow and a green, a B and a C. We are sewing down 1. Make sure you position your beads before you continue on each stitch. And we're going to sew up 2, which are the peridot. It's a little hard to tell the difference between these yellow and peridot. I almost wish I would have used a darker green. So now we're ready for our last stitch, which is a green and then a yellow, a C and then a B. We're sewing down 1, positioning our beads, and then we're going to sew up 2, get back into the first column right there. And I'm just going to repeat that for the next 3 rows. I'll show you guys one more. So I'm going to pick up my next 2 beads, which are my color A. I'm sewing down 1, and you want to pull tight on these stitches so that your twist looks good and your beadwork has a good shape to it. So now I'm sewing up 2 on the next column. Pull nice and firm. Now I'm going to pick up my next 2 beads, a B and a C. I am sewing down 1. Now you can use all colors of beads. You can use all the same color. It doesn't really matter. I'm using this sequence here because I wanted to show you make the twist stand out. So now I'm sewing back up through the 2 of my next column. I'm going to pick up my C and then my B. I'm sewing down 1 once again, and then up 2. And because I'm at the end of my round, I'm ready to start a new round. So that is 3 rows, and I have 2 more to add. But you can see that the twist is starting to go around to the right, like that. So now that I've gotten those done, I want to just come back, and we're going to take a quick look at how things look. So here is my first column, and it is all these beautiful topaz beads. Here's my second column. You can see my line of yellow. You can clearly see how it's twisting off to the right. The second part of that column is this beautiful peridot. And this is also, you can see that this is twisting to the right. And then on my third column, I have the peridot and the yellow. You can really see that stripe good on both sides of that. All right, so basically, if I wanted to, I could just continue on twisting this, just like I did, by going down 1, up 2. Let's say I wanted my twist to be even more pronounced, and for these separate colors and stripes to really be pronounced and come around. Well, you can do that. I'm going to set myself out 5 more beads because I'm going to do 5 rows. So let me put those guys over here. That helps me remember to pick up here to start each row. So I'll pick up 1 and then 1 out of my big pile so that I have my 2 beads on. This time I'm going to sew down 1 bead, just like we normally do on herringbone. Pull those beads into position. This time I am going to sew up 3. So I'm going to jump all the way down here and sew up through those top 3 beads on the next column, which in this case, of course, are my yellow beads. I'm going to pick up my next 2 beads, which is a B and then a C. I'm going to sew down 1, just like normal, coming down through that green bead. And I'm going to sew up 3 on the next column, which are the top 3 peridot beads right there. Then I'll pick up my same sequence, which is a color C and then a color B. Find one I like here. I'm going to sew down 1. Just a second here. So we're sewing down 1, that top yellow. And then I'm going to sew up 3 into the next column, which will be these 3 topaz beads. Just like this. And I'm going to continue that for these next 4 rounds. So I'll show you a couple more. I'm at the beginning of my round, so I'm picking up 2, sewing down 1, stepping up through 3. And I'm going to put my optimizer on so I make sure that I get through the right beads each time. So sewing up through 3 for my step up. Then I pick up my next set of beads, which is going to be a color B and a color C. I'm going to sew down 1. And position your beads. And sew up 3. Yep, this will be the last stitch of the round, so I pick up the color C and a color B. Sew down 1. And then sew up 3 into the very first column. Let me do one more so we can make sure we have it all in our minds correctly. I'm going to pick up your beads and sew down 1. You're going to step up 3. And your needle gets a little tricky when these twists start getting really twisty. So take your time to make sure you're getting the right amount of beads. So we're going up, stepping up 3. Picking up our second set of beads, which is a color B and a color C. For me, we are sewing down 1. And step up 3. And take the last stitch, which would be a color C and a color B. So down 1, and up 3. I'm going to finish these last 2 rounds, and I will meet you guys back and we'll take a look at our work. So I finished up those last few rows, and I have a total of 5 of my extra twisty tubular herringbone going on here. But let's take a look. And because we started out the first 5 rows of just regular herringbone, we have this nice flow down here towards the end where we could put a clasp. Then we started gently twisting for the next 5 rows. And you can see here between these 2 rows how it came along real smooth, real slow growing. But as we did those last 5 rows of the extra twist by stepping up 3, you can see we got a really, really extreme twist going on now with this tubular twisted herringbone. Now, I've finished up that mimicking or mirroring this opposite end from my extreme twisted section here in the middle. We started gently curving back around by passing down 1 and stepping up 2. And then we went right back in and did our last 5 rows of straight tubular herringbone so that the 2 ends are exactly alike. We have 5 rows of regular herringbone on each end. The next 5 rows are slightly twisted herringbone, and then the 10 in the middle are the extreme twist, like that. So now we need to add the crystals to the end. And we want it to look exactly like it does on the other end, so I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to start by picking up 4 crystals. You're exiting from the top of your first column. You're just going to pass down 1. We're going to add these beads on just like we were doing herringbone, but we're picking up, you know, 2 for each part of the column. So when you pull it down, it looks like that. I'm going to step up 1 bead into the next column. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to pick up 4 more. You're going to pass down 1. They're a little awkward until you come back through and ladder stitch them together. And then we're going to step up 1. We're going to pick up the last 4 crystals onto our needle. We're going to pass down 1. It's like regular straight herringbone, tubular herringbone. And instead of stepping up 2 this time, because we added 4 beads at once, we'll fix those rounds so they don't twist, we're actually going to step up 3. We're going to step up the 1 bead, seed bead, and plus the 2 new crystals. So that's why we'll be stepping up 3. Let me just put my optivisor down so I can see where I'm going here. And I'm just going to come up that seed bead first. It's just easier for me to do that. You can, if you can get through all 3 at once, that's fine. If you have to take 2 passes, that's fine too. So now I'm going to come up through the 2 crystals. And that completes my step up. The seed bead finishes the round. The crystals are the step up. So now we need to ladder stitch all of these crystals together so that the 2 ends look alike. And it's really easy to do. You can head in either direction you want to. But what you're going to do is you're going to want to put you already have a thread bridge here at the top, but we need one down here at the bottom. So we're going to come down the next 2 beads on the same column. And we're going to pass back up through those first 2 crystals. Let's pull everything nice and tight. So that way we can get that thread bridge added down here at the bottom, just like that. Because we want the 2 ends to be identical. Now to get into position to work on the next column, you just pass back down those same 2 crystals on the other side of your column so that you're exiting the bottom. Now we're going to add a thread bridge between this bottom bead and this bottom bead. So we're going to pass up the next 2 crystals, just like that. And as we pull it through, we put the thread bridge there at the bottom. So now we need one at the top. So we're going to put one between that top bead and this top bead. So we're going to come back down 2 beads behind. So now we have our thread bridges between those 2 columns. We got to get into position to work on the next set. So we'll come up through those 2 beads, sewing in the same direction. I sew to the right. You may be sewing to the left. So now I need a thread bridge between these 2 sets of beads that are sitting on my second column. So I'm going to pass down the 2 beads here to the right. And to put that thread bridge in place, I just pass up 2 beads to the left. And now I need to get into position to sew column 2 and column 3 together. So all I do is I pass back down those 2 crystals to the right, just like that. So now we're going to put our thread bridge here. We're going to pass up 2 beads to the right, bridge at the bottom. We're going to come back down the 2 beads to the left to put the thread bridge at the top. Get into position, come back up 2 beads to the right. These beads are so pretty. And now we are sitting above, we're on our 3rd column. So all we need is a thread bridge here at the bottom of those 2 crystals. But to do that, we have to come down 2 beads to the right again, 2 crystals, and then pass back up 2 beads to the left to place that thread bridge. Now we want to get sew between columns 3 and columns 1, so we got to get in position again. We're going to come down 2 beads to the right, and here we need a thread bridge at the top and the bottom. You can see it's open, so we'll go up these 2 beads to the right. Excuse me. Now put one here at the top. We'll sew back down the 2 beads to the left. I might have to wiggle my work. So now I'm putting that thread bridge. And now I want to get back into column 1, so I just pass up 2 beads to the right. And I'm right back where I started from, coming out of the top of my beads on column 1, just like that. So now that we completed our 1 section and we added our crystals on the end so that we have the same mirrored image on both ends, we have regular herringbone for 5 rows, the slightly twisted for 5 rows on each side, and then we have 10 rows in the middle of the ultra twisty, like that. But suppose we wanted to create another section here of twisted herringbone, but we want the twist to go off to the right. I mean, off to the left instead of to the right. So what we would do is really simple. We just kind of reverse the amount of beads we go down and up in each step. And something to note, like that when you start a twisted tubular herringbone project, is this. If you were going to do regular twisted herringbone, where you pick up 2 beads, you go down 1 and step up 2, you would have to have at least 2 rows of regular herringbone above your ladder in order to start. If you were going to go straight into doing the extreme twist, where you're picking up your 2 beads, passing down 3, and stepping up 1, you would have to have at least 3 rows of regular tubular herringbone before you start. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to graduate into this extreme twist just like I did in this section. So I'm going to do 5 rows of regular twisted herringbone. So I've got my little 5 beads set out here. So what I'm going to do to make this twist in the opposite direction is I'm going to pick up my 2 beads. And before we pass down 1 and stepped up 2, this time we're going to pass down 2 and step up 1. So there's picked up 2 and passed down 2 beads to the right. Now I'm going to step up 1 bead in my next column. Look at that. I'm going to pick up my next set of beads, which is a yellow and then a green. I'm going to pass down 2 beads in the same, on the other side of my column. And I am going to step up 1 bead to the right into my third column. I'm going to pick up my last set of beads, which is a green and then a yellow. I am going to pass down 2 beads right here. And then I'm going to step up 1 bead at the end and back up into column 1. And I pull it nice and snug. I'll pick up my next 2 beads. I had counted wrong in my little pile there. Sorry about that. I'm going to pass down 2. I'll put my visor down so I can see better what I am doing. So passing down 2. And stepping up 1. Pick up my next set of beads, a B and a C. Passing down 2. And stepping up 1 into the third column. Now I'll pick up my last set of beads, which is a C and then a B. I am going to pass down 2 once again, and I'm going to step up 1 at the end and pull nice and snug so that I don't have a lot of exposed thread showing. You can already see that my column is starting to twist off to the left, whereas down here it was twisting to the right. So I'm going to do these next 3 rows of the same way. I'm going to pick up 2, pass down 2, and step up 1. And when I finish that up, I'll meet you back and we'll show you how to do the extreme twist around to the left. Position those nice before I step up. I'm going to step up 1. My next beads are going to be a yellow and then a green. Once again, I'm going to go down 3 in that column. Step up 1 in my next column. My last column is pick up a green and then a yellow. Going to go down 3 in that column. And when I step back up into my first column, I'm just going to go up 1. Just like that. And I'm going to repeat that all the way around for 10 rows. So I'll show you one more. Here's my first 2 beads. I'm going down 3. And up 1 into the next column. The next stitch is a color B, then a color C. Pass down 3. And step up 1. The last stitch is a color C and then a color B. And we'll pass down 3. Make sure you only go 3 and not 4. And we'll step up 1 right there. By gradually rolling into this tighter twist, you can see how it minimizes the exposed thread along the sides here. I can see a little piece of thread right here, and I know what happened because I can plainly see it with my Optivisor on. I had actually passed under a thread of the previous round, and so I can see that tiny bit of thread showing. But if you'll notice, like from anybody else's point of view, you're not going to see that thread. And I didn't really want to take the time to back out and start over for this particular video. So I'm just going to carry on. I'm going to add the rest of these rows by passing down the 3 and stepping up 1 into the next column each time. And then once I have that done, come back and we'll have a little chat. So because I decided to make this into a project, you guys, once I have added those 5 rows of beads here, I just went ahead and I stopped. I wove my thread back in, like I stated earlier, and I started a new thread, and I made this other side just exactly as I did this one. So if you want to make this bracelet and continue on with me, go ahead and weave your thread off after 5 rows of extreme twist here, and then start from at the beginning of the project or the beginning of these lessons, and create another piece just like this one. And then I'll meet you guys back later on, and I'll show you guys how to finish this all up. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed to the Bead Mat newsletter. Follow me on my blog and social media. And if you head over to the Alluring Bead Boutique shop, if you're looking for patterns, I'm having a sale from July 7th through the 21st for Christmas in July. You get 25% off all of my patterns and technique guides. Use the codes XMAS25 at checkout. Thanks for watching.